So coming from NVIDIA, some actual technology news. Hotter than a hot tub, the 45 degrees Celsius breakthrough to cool AI's biggest machines. NVIDIA's latest AI servers can run on coolant warmer than a hot tub, and that counterintuitive choice is one of the biggest efficiency leaps in data center history. And I would totally agree. I think this is actually an amazing improvement, and I will be very curious to see what happens with data centers going into the future. I do find it kind of funny. I talked about this particular article in a previous video that I did, and I started getting a lot of snarky comments from people. Oh yeah, data centers running at 45 degrees Celsius. This proves Eli has no idea what he's talking about. And it's like, I'm just, look, NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, I'm not saying this. They're the ones saying this. I'm not really sure how to make you folks happy sometimes. So I do think this is kind of curious. And when you talk about like 45 degrees Celsius, that's almost near 100 degrees. And it is something to be thinking about in kind of like the modern world of technology. And when we think about things like not simply legacy systems, but legacy mindsets, right? So for me, coming from the old school technology IT world, right, we used to keep our data centers at about the temperature of freezers, right? It would be Baltimore, it would be DC. You'd be outside in a t-shirt and shorts, sweating your hoo-haws off, and then you had to go into the data center. You snuggle up in your fucking Arctic coat or whatever to go in and rack servers. And that's basically how we did it. And the curious thing, right? That's 25 years ago. That's old school. But what's interesting is the hardware has gotten a lot better over the years. And realistically, when I say the hardware got better over the years, the hardware actually got better like way back then too, back in 2005, 2010 timeframe. And one of the things a lot of people don't realize is that you can actually run your systems in hotter environments than you might think. That you don't necessarily need a perfectly air-conditioned room. Many times you just simply need the temperature in your little data center or server room to be below 80 degrees. So the important thing to understand when you're dealing with temperature and you're dealing with systems is that you have to be below a certain heat threshold, right? So over a certain heat threshold, basically components, literally, they start malfunctioning, they start melting, there starts to be all kinds of different issues going on. And that's where you'll hear about things, especially like with laptop computers, you'll hear about things like thermal throttling. So if your system gets too hot, it'll throttle back, it'll turn back the CPU to try to keep the system cooler, or a thermal shutdown, and what you see in data centers a lot of times, or server rooms a lot of times, where the temperature just gets too hot, and so the system automatically shuts itself down to protect it from damage from the heat. And the thing is, it's important to understand, like, these thermal events are very real and you do have to worry about it. But here's the deal, like, you know, you got an Active Directory server, you got an email server, you got your DNS and DHCP server and that type of thing. The reality is you do not need to cool these systems the way you need to cool your fancy ass gaming rig that you have at home, right? Basically, as long as the temperature for those systems is below a certain level, they should operate fine. And so the reality is most data centers, or most server rooms really at this point in time, can really be run at a much higher temperature than people run them at. One of the caveats to that, though, is you do have to have proper circulation through all of your equipment. So one of the problems you can have with equipment in a data center or a server room environment is essentially you get heat spots, right? It's not that the overall server gets too hot, but a particular area in the server gets too hot, and then you can have problems. So you need to make sure that you have servers and you have everything racked properly so that you get good airflow through all of the equipment so you don't get massive hot spots. But if all of that is there, you can actually run your systems in a lot warmer environment than people realize. And so it's kind of really interesting with this, with NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA obviously has the ability to design their own hardware. They understand there's a lot of problems, the cost of cooling, the water consumption with cooling, a lot of that stuff going on with cooling. And so basically they are now designing their hardware to be able to run with 45 degree cooling liquid Which this is revolutionary. Whoa, whoa! Again, it's so funny. Like Sam Altman comes out, he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna come out with a new frontier model," and I don't care anymore. Like, dude, frontier models is so 2024. You wanna make me excited? Heat my hot tub with GPU excess heat. That's what's going to make Eli excited in 2026. The other important thing to understand about this, too, is one of my arguments for a long time now is that we're dealing with a very immature AI stack. And so we talk about the AI stack. The AI stack is not simply the software or the models, but it's also all the hardware everything has to run on. And one of my arguments for the idiocy of these data centers getting built out is that we are putting hundreds of billions of dollars into building data centers based off of yesterday's standards and requirements, not based necessarily off of what we are going to need tomorrow, which could be, again, as I've said before, a wee bit of an issue. And so that's one of the interesting things looking at this too, is that whole idea. Again, how do you build data centers? So if you start using water cooling, so if you go into a normal data center, at least how it was, I don't know, maybe you guys got rid of it, but you used to have like raised floors. So you walk in and the floor you're on isn't actually the floor. It's all these little panel things that have little elevators. Anyways, and so you can pull up all the panels and you have airflow underneath. And what you don't do is you can pull up all the panels and that's where you can run your cable. Is not the answer. If you pull up your floor panels and there's cable down there, that is not how you're supposed to do it. The cable is supposed to go up there. Anyways, down there is the airflow. But one of the things to think about, and again, this is the real thing. We talk about like architecture and design and all that kind of stuff. What, it's about a foot, right? So the floor is, the raised floor is about a foot off the normal floor. Think about it. Think about how much square footage is literally used in many data centers just for that raised flooring, just for air circulation. What happens in a data center if you can get rid of that because you're using liquid to cool everything? Right, there's a lot of interesting questions here with how you would build data centers, not for 2013, but for 2030. So anyways, if we go and take a look at this, pretty cool stuff, really, all in all. Hot tubs sit at around 38 to 40 degrees Celsius, warm enough that most people can only soak for about 15 minutes. NVIDIA's newest AI servers can run their cooling liquid even hotter, up to 45 degrees or 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? Oh, it's gonna be like a hot yoga thing. Oh God, that's gonna be horrible. Can you imagine? So in the past, when you would go into the data center, right? You're in your little Arctic coats or whatever. Oh my golly. Can you imagine walking into your data center and you got all these like overweight, kind of slovenly geeks. They're in their little Speedos, sweat is pouring down them as they work on the equipment. The visual I have for what it will be to work in a data center in 2030. It's not very pretty, to be honest with you. But think about that. These systems can run at 113 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a hell of a thing. That higher temperature limit is precisely what makes them more energy efficient. Yep. The Rubin generation of NVIDIA AI infrastructure is the world's first to achieve 100% liquid cooling. Every chip, every networking component cooled entirely by liquid in a closed loop with no fans anywhere in the system. This liquid cooling methodology is outlined in NVIDIA's DSX AI Factory Reference Design, a guide that outlines best practices to design, build, and operate the entire AI factory infrastructure stack. Although each generation offers significantly more computing power for each watt, full liquid-cooled AI compute infrastructure enables data centers to dramatically reduce cooling energy consumption, making a meaningful difference to overall data center energy use at hyperscale. Quote, the NVIDIA DSX reference design for the AI factories has zero water consumption. We have eliminated massive amounts of power usage and pretty much all water usage, said Ali Haidari, director of the data center cooling and infrastructure at NVIDIA. Quote, with dry cooler based designs, it's a closed loop system with no evaporation evaporative water cooling. So this is one of the big concerns right now with all these big AI data centers being built. They use evaporative cooling, which basically means they pull water from somewhere and they literally evaporate it in order to cool the data center. So that is going to go away outside of maybe 1% of the year when we might need chillers in some climates. Historically, cooling alone has accounted for up to 40% of a data center's electricity consumption. And so that's the other thing to be thinking about too with this. Again, we talk about why things get built and how they get built and the whole 9 yards. So one of the big ideas with XAI, with SpaceX, is the value of SpaceX is they're going to be launching data centers into space. I was just, what was it, his AI One initiative or whatever. When you actually take a look at it, and again, I need to research it more just to verify it's not as stupid as it sounds. It literally sounds like a quote-unquote space data center is one rack of servers. So essentially you launch one, like each data center in space is a single rack of servers. And so why do we need to put data centers in space? Look at all the water consumption for cooling. Look at all the power utilization, on the Earth-based data centers and the whole 9 yards. What if you can get rid of all of the water consumption? And what if you can massively scale back the power? What if you can drop the power by 40%? How does that change the dynamics? How does that change the economics of AI data center development? Right? This is the kind of interesting stuff that happens, again, with the whole architecture world. Industry estimates suggest that raising chiller plant temperatures by just 1 degree can cut cooling energy costs by about 4%. At scale, those savings add up quickly. A 50 megawatt hyperscale facility can save over $4 million annually in cooling-related energy and water costs by moving to liquid-cooled infrastructure. In favorable climates, NVIDIA's 45-degree liquid cooling architecture can enable chillerless operation with dry coolers, reducing facility cooling water consumption from roughly 2.6 million gallons per megawatt per year for conventional cooling tower-based systems to near zero, up to 100% reduction in water use. Because the NVIDIA Rubin platform integrates 100% liquid-cooled infrastructure, every cloud provider and data center operator building for it is making that transition. Walk through a traditional data center and notice two things. The noise, yes, if you go into a data center, it's right? Cooling fans contribute to total noise levels at or above 85 decibels, loud enough to require ear protection, and the physical choreography of hot aisles and cold aisles carefully managed to push cool air across components. The Rubin architecture changes the picture. Coolant, 75% water and 25% propylene glycol, flows through cold plates that sit directly on processors, putting heat out at the source. Running that coolant at up to 45 degrees Celsius means that in many climates, the facility loop can reject heat without turning on mechanical chillers and noisy fans. So basically what they're talking about here is, I think it's like talking about somewhere else, essentially you just put big ass heat sinks on the outside of your building. That unlocks something beyond energy savings, the possibility of eliminating water consumption entirely. In the right geography, somewhere with reliably cool outdoor air, a liquid-cooled data center can reject its heat through coolant distributed units that capture heat directly at the source and transport it to outdoor dry coolers, essentially large radiator coils positioned outside the building. Right? So not an air conditioning unit, not a chiller unit. Again, basically big ass heat sinks. The loop is filled once and runs closed for the life of the facility, and it takes dramatically less space in the AI factory compared to traditional air cooling infrastructure. Quote, in the right geographic location with the right system design, you don't need any refrigeration equipment. You can just put big radiator coils outside and use the air temperature for all your cooling. It's incredibly efficient. The geography caveat matters. A data center in the Scottish Highlands and one in Phoenix, Arizona face very different realities, but even in warmer climates, a shift towards 45 degrees Celsius coolant moves operators significantly closer to the chillerless ideal, where chillers may turn on for just a few days a year when the outside air temperature demands it. Another key benefit of this new model for AI factories is the potential for waste heat recovery, where residual heat in AI factory operations can be repurposed to heat commercial or residential buildings nearby. We've heard that kind of thing before. So yeah, that's a hell of a thing. So instead of having raised floors, you're gonna have water in your data. Oh my golly. Oh Lordy. See, this is why we need new generation. This is why we need new generations of geeks. Because there's some things that is really hard for the old timers to get their heads around. Can you imagine? I remember the days when I was a kid, I was not allowed to bring a can of liquid into the same room that had the computer in it, right? Right? I remember the days in the data centers, you did not bring any liquid at all into the data center or all hell could break loose. This is literally putting plumbing into every single piece of equipment you have. I'm not saying it won't work. I'm just saying I'm not sure my brain can handle it. So yeah, I think this could be, basically a hell of a thing. And as I've said with many times with this whole AI fraud that is currently going on, this is the perfect example of why trying to hyperscale this technology right now really just simply doesn't make sense. We don't understand what value we're getting out of this technology. We don't understand the efficient ways to be able to deploy the technology, and we don't understand the basic financial concepts for how this technology is really going to be valuable and deployable and all that kind of stuff in the future. We're going to figure it out. Don't get me wrong. Like, we're going to figure it out. I genuinely do not believe sending data centers a rack at a time into space is the way to go. But if you start looking at improvements like this, I think this makes a hell of a lot of sense. And so think about data centers that were built 2 years ago, right? You build this big ass expensive data center 2 years ago. They come out with this standards. They come out with that technology. The entire data center is obsolete. Right, every way you built it, basically you get to keep the building, and then everything else would have to be gutted to be retrofitted in order to be able to use a system like this. And that's, as I've said before, that's my concern, that's my frustration. That's why I scream at the clouds, whether it be Azure or AWS or even DigitalOcean every once in a while. I will scream at those clouds. So anyways, what do you think about this? What do you think about running your systems with 45 degrees Celsius water or liquid of some sort, basically 113 degrees Fahrenheit? What do you think about putting plumbing into your data center? Is that a bridge too far? Of course. Water and data centers. Obviously, that makes a lot of sense. Do you think this will be successful at the end of the day? Do you think this is a hell of a lot better idea than shipping data centers a rack at a time into space? Put your thoughts down below. If you like these episodes, do remember they're on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Link is down below. Also, if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, there's a link down there too. With that, see y'all later.